Welcome to my CSR project, Impact of Technology on Teacher Competence. My name is Riaz. I'm currently double majoring in Bio and Biochem. This is my second year in the CSR program, first as a FPS scholar, so bear with me here. I currently work as an undergrad research assistant for the Science Learning Partnership, which is also referred to as SLP. This is my faculty mentor of the past 2.5 years, Dr. Kathryn Hayes. She is the PI and advisor for her project, the SLP. She is also an assistant professor in the Department of Educational Leadership. So a bit of background. Teachers are amazing, and I'm sure you yourself have had a teacher who had a positive impact on you. Unfortunately though, not all teachers are given the proper background knowledge and training to teach the subject they've been assigned to teach. Case in point are science teachers. An issue arises when a teacher whose background is in a non-STEM related field might find themselves struggling to teach science content to their students. This is where Dr. Hayes' SLP comes in. The SLP works to provide the necessary knowledge and tools that our elementary science teachers need to bridge the necessary gaps they might have. When the COVID-19 pandemic made its way in our lives, teachers were suddenly pushed to teach on a medium that they hadn't been given the training for, and in some cases, not given the proper support they needed to do their jobs. As a result, our research in the SLP needed to adapt to the pandemic and pivot our focus to best support our teachers. A couple of terms I want to go over are self-determination theory and competence. So the self-determination theory believes that there are 3 fundamental basic needs essential for teacher motivation. For the purposes of my research, I honed in on one of the basic needs. Competence, at its core, is a teacher's desire to feel confident in their ability to teach their students. And I chose competence because I was curious to see the growth in our teachers, along with believing that it is important for our teachers to feel confident in their abilities to teach, especially in their own classrooms. For this year's CSR project, I was curious to learn more about the experiences teachers had at the beginning of the pandemic. Specifically, from the moment when teachers were first alerted that they would be going online for the foreseeable future back in March 2020. But to do that, I had to analyze some data. I was given 14 teacher interview transcripts to code through. There are 3 components for my research, which consisted of qualitative coding, deduce, and something called a codebook. The first component, qualitative coding, is not exactly what most people think of when they think about coding. Qualitative coding is not the same as Java or C++. Rather, qualitative coding is consisted of highlighting portions of text from a transcript that match with whichever theme you're interested in. So I didn't exactly use a pencil and paper to qualitatively code. Instead, I played around with a software called Deduce. Deduce is a great tool for qualitative coding. It's powerful, and frankly, I've only scratched the surface of the program. When used correctly, you can generate all sorts of cool charts. When coding, it is useful to reference a codebook that lists various themes according to whatever project you're pursuing. This is the codebook I presented in last year's CSR project. This codebook was created based off of the self-determination theory and SLP's past research. Please feel free to pause the video to go through it. The interesting thing about codebooks is that they are constantly evolving. Over the course of the past year, my supervisor, Dr. Britt Tobin-Lindsay, and I have been going through multiple transcripts. When you code a transcript, there tend to be patterns and themes that appear that you might not have anticipated before making the codebook. And that is totally okay and expected. So as we continued to code through the transcripts, we took note of any patterns that popped up. The new themes that emerged pertain to technology and district support. Due to the discovery of the new themes, we updated the codebook to better reflect our analysis of the data. As such, this is the current codebook that we are using right now. When going through the transcripts, we notice that some teachers mentioned feeling slightly more at ease when going online, simply because they were aware of how to use technology. Some teachers mentioned that they had prior knowledge of various software and were able to implement it when teaching their students. Frankly, I was surprised to see the various programs some teachers knew about that are listed here. Teachers who had prior knowledge in technology were shown to have a higher competency level as opposed to teachers without prior tech knowledge. In the interviews from teachers who mentioned that they didn't have a firm grasp of technology, we noticed that they struggled more to adapt to online teaching. They mentioned feeling frustrated and burnt out, especially since they were forced to quickly adopt online teaching without the necessary prep. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please ask any questions that you may have or share your thoughts on what was discussed in the comments section below.